Okay, guys, I'm going to talk to you today about sketching lines given the slope and the y-intercept. So we have talked about this before, but I noticed we were still pretty confused. This is a pretty simple process, so it's always going to go the exact same way no matter what you're given. So we're always going to start with the y-intercept, and it is the y-intercept. So whenever you see that, think about the y-axis. So if I look at this y-intercept, it says 1. Okay, so let's look at y and see if we can find a positive 1. Positive 1 should be right here. So that is my y-intercept. After we have that, we're pretty much set and we just need to follow our slope. So I'll do my change in y over my change in x. So there is a negative. You just need to pick which one it's going to go with, either the y or the x. I'll go ahead and put it with the y just to get that done. So if my change in y is -1, that means I'm going to go down 1. And then my change in x is +3. So I'm going to go to the right 3. 1, 2, and 3. There's my next point. If I want, I can do this again. So -1 or down 1, and then +3 or 1, 2, 3, right 3. And then we can connect the dots. And that's my line. Okay, so I'm going to try it again and see if I can do the exact same thing but with different numbers, which I always can. Okay, so we're going to start with our y-intercept. And again, since it's the y-intercept, I'm going to think about the y-axis. This y-intercept says +4. So if I look here, here's 0, 0. I can go up 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there is my y-intercept. Well, now I'm going to look at the same thing with my slope. There's my change in y. And if it's a whole number, I can always put it over 1. So that's my change in x. I'll just keep the negative with the top because why not? I did it on the last one. So -1 or down 1, +1 or right 1. And I can do that over and over again. -1, down 1, +1, right 1. -1, down 1, +1, right 1. And of course my favorite game, connect the dots. So there's my line. Now remember, we have different ways we can do a line. It's not just a line on a graph. So right here it says equation. Okay, well let's put this into the equation. Y equals mx plus b. We've talked about it. The y and the x are technically always just going to stay the same in this particular form because we can plug these numbers, so like for instance 3, 1, into these. So 3 would be the x, so we could plug 3 in here, and 1 would be the y. We could plug 1 in there, and if we actually worked all of this out, they would equal each other. But the parts that we need to look at are the m, or the slope, which was -1, 1x, so -x, and then my y-intercept, which was 4, +4. And there's my equation. So here I've done the equation and the graph. Let's try one more. Okay, so I'm going to go in the exact same order. I'm always going to start with my y-intercept because that is a point. And since it's y-intercept, I'm going to think about the y-axis. And again, this is a point. We're always going to have 0 here, but the y-intercept is on 3. So I'll put that point up here on 3. Now I'm going to go to my slope. Well, my change in y is going to be 3. And my change in x is going to be 2. So I can start from this point and actually do what it says. Now here we're running into a little problem because if I kill up 3, 1, 2, 3, I'm off the graph. And that's kind of confusing. So what I can do is I can do the exact opposite of what it says, but I have to do it with both. So if this said positive 3, now I'm going to do negative 3. So negative 3 would be down 3. 1, 2, 3. So if we're going to do the exact opposite, I did negative 3 here, which means this is not going to be positive 2, it's going to be negative 2. So where I left off, negative 1, 2, 3. Okay? We can play our favorite game, connect the dots. Here is my graph, and now I can make my equation. So we can always start with y equals my slope. I know I put negatives, but originally it was 3 over 2 x, and my y-intercept was positive 3. And there's my equation.